I'm delighted to welcome Matt Stagg. Matt is Director of Mobile Strategy at BT Sport, and he is going to talk about transforming broadcasting with 5G remote production. You're never going to see sport in the same light. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you, Annie. And that was a great presentation. I've just been on another panel actually, so I just caught the second half, and it was really enlightening. Thanks for joining everyone, and thank you for having me on. It's it's going to be very interesting, hopefully. So I'm the Director of Mobile Strategy for BT Sport. I also work in the wider BT area, looking at some of the innovations that we bring into BT Sport, how we may use the other assets of the BT group to develop some of those products and see how we can use them in the wider industry. So I look at what we call glass to glass or end to end, where we can use 5G from anything remote production on untethered cameras through to new augmented reality experiences, both in and out of the event stadium or ground. So I'm going to go through now, and I have a couple of VTs to play. Firstly, what I wanted to play, and I'll play it now, is we wrote down the vision for sport. What could it look like in 5 or 10 years, so that we had something, both we could sort of tell internally what we were thinking in BT Sport and get the other areas of the group to go through it and start to get on board and think about other ways we can do it, and also to get the industry generally talking about these things. So I shall play it now.
We love football because it's always changing, and so is the way we bring it to you. At BT Sport, we've always been at the forefront of the latest technology. We already bring you enhanced experiences with our BT Sport app. And now, we're at the dawn of a whole new era. A breakthrough that will truly revolutionise the way we enjoy the beautiful game.
This is 5G, and it is really amazing.
Get ready for the immersive media revolution. What this all means is that with 5G, every seat will be the best seat in the house. Literally.
Oh, you're here, are you?
Yeah, sorry, mate, I had to take the dog out. You'll be able to share every moment in real time wherever you are with whoever you choose to. And no lag.
This is what ultra-low latency looks like.
A reaction time that you simply wouldn't believe.
Alexander-Arnold, perfectly done. Salah's in here. He scored!
Never miss a thing with an untethered viewing experience.
You're watching this?
Yeah, I've got it on.
And it's a penalty to City. He saved it!
Oh, wow, look at that.
What is it?
It's a Red Devil.
With 5G, get that thrill you felt at your very first game. Guaranteed every time.
It means we can bring the viewer at home to the heart of the action, and the power of broadcast to everyone at the stadium.
No, look. Look, he doesn't touch the ball.
The reliability and speed of 5G will enable us to control an array of cameras that will create a total field of view.
Where would you hit it?
Top left.
Unlocking ways of seeing every moment. From the optimum, unobstructed angle, and giving our production teams unlimited creative freedom. And if you miss anything, multi-angle replays will let you see it again and again in your own time.
Oh, it's fantastic!
Bamian.
All of this can be experienced with devices like these glasses, and in the future, maybe even without.
I can make you disappear.
Stop it. game is the same as it ever was.
But the possible is unlimited.
Oh, I've got a message. It's from Aubameyang.
Get off the pitch! 5G is coming, and one of the driving forces behind it is BT Sport. We can't wait.
So hopefully that gave you a taste of where we see the future in the end-to-end. And I expect a few of you, if you spotted the West Country accent I have, will see why I wrote a tractor into the script, because we have lots of them. And every time I go to London, everyone thinks I sound like a farmer. So moving on. So I guess some of those things there, people will think are very far in the future and won't be coming to life anytime soon. But I wanted to draw the attention to a new project that we are leading, BT Sport are leading, called 5G Edge XR. Now, this is funded partly by DCMS as part of their 5G Create program, where it was looking at ways that we can stimulate the use of 5G to engage and drive forward the UK in terms of its leadership in 5G. So what we wanted to do was work with some great people, great companies in the looking at Edge XR as we were. So we're working with the Grid Factory, Salsa Sound, Dance East, Condensed Reality, and the University of Bristol. There are 4 different use cases that we're working on. Number 1 is looking at how we can do full volumetrics, and that's where we're working, and Condensed Reality are involved in that, and Salsa Sound, and the Grid Factory in this one. So we're looking at how we can use graphics processing units to be able to take some of the heavy lifting that would have to be done in the device. So when you look at things like holographic, volumetric, and other augmented experiences, the processing that's need to be done is huge. And then it starts to rely on having a much bigger devices with bigger processors. And when you look at the world of wearables, one thing that you want them to do is be light and not use a lot of power. So when we looked at our vision for some of those things we saw there, we realized that whilst we could simulate some of them, they weren't going to be able to scale without having a huge amount of processing. So that's where we started to work in this consortium, looking at how we can use GPUs at the edge of the 5G network. One of the things that we're going to start with is, where is the edge? For lots of people, the real edge is your device. You move back and people look at, with network function virtualization, it being at the sales site. You come back to the aggregation site, and, a cloud platform in the general public cloud is considered edge to a lot of people. So it's looking at where we can use these to get the maximum impact and certainly move the latency back when you're trying to do things like we've got there, which is a full broadcast grade volumetric boxing match that's in time and synchronized with the post-production feed. So when you're moving around, that will be on the table. It won't be graphics. It will be the actual video processing, and you're walking around with your augmented reality glasses on. You can see everything else in your room, and then you're looking down. So be able to walk around whilst you've got the commentary on in the background. It has to be in time. But also you imagine the processing to do with you moving from one angle round to the other. It's just going to need some sort of heavy grunt, as we say. The next one is a fully immersive MotoGP experience, and that will be able to curate your own environment of how you want to involve yourself with a particular MotoGP experience. So there are lots of people who are very keen, and these are, it's a great example of being able to curate your own experience, because there are a variety of different fans of the sport. You have, on one end, you have people who are just happy to watch that highly well-produced post-production feed. And there are other people that want screens all around them. They want to be able to have a graphic overlay of the track where the riders are, maybe even down to tire pressures going round. And the data points we get on these type of motorsports mean that we can enable people to do that. And I think this really shows where the sporting industry and the broadcasters are going, what's traditionally a one-to-many operational mode, to a one-to-one. You are the curator of your own. We will still provide a feed that fits the middle ground, and we pride ourselves on our output, but also you can create your room as you like it. The next one is very close to what you saw there with the young lad watching the match in the stadium, is how we can bring some of the information and the power we have as a broadcaster to the fan in the stadium. That can be overlays, that can replays. I always look at, if you're a season ticket holder, you've sat in one seat for most of your life. Wouldn't it be great if you could move seats augmentedly and watch the penalty from the other area? And there are other things that are involved in that. There's a lot of things like, people don't know where the toilets are. It's very difficult to find a seat, especially if you just go once in a blue moon. And safety, to know if there's some kind of incident where your nearest exit is. The other one, which is of great interest to me, and this is where Dance East are involved, to do to virtual dance lessons. So instead of, certainly a lot of this type of thinking has progressed in the current environment we're in, where you actually can't go to dance lessons. And this will be how someone in their own house with their wearables, either in virtual or augmented reality, can actually train with a holographic version of the instructor, and also the instructor, vice versa, will have the holographic view of the student. And that's something we're really excited about. Certainly for me, it's not an area of the industry that I'm traditionally involved in. So it's going to be very exciting. So one of the things that I feel BT bring to the industry is our knowledge of how things work end to end. And I just put this diagram quickly to explain the areas that we're involved in. So obviously we have BT Sport, which have the rights and the production within stadiums or within events. We also have Wembley, which EE sponsor, which we've made a commitment as part of our sponsorship deal to make that the most connected stadium in the world. And that's where we can run a lot of our proof of concepts. And I'll show you one later on that we did, which was the first live 5G production. We have a LTE, a 4G and a 5G network at EE. We also have a media and broadcast arm, which do all the traditional broadcast services. We have a production studio. We have high connections to the internet. We're an internet service provider. We also have all the peering. And then on the distribution side, we have fixed brands, EE, PlusNet and BT into the home. And then we have EE as a mobile operator, again with 4G and 5G, and the device ecosystem that we have with the operator, the manufacturers. So I wanted to touch on some of the commercial growth opportunities for 5G, because a lot of people say, okay, well, you connect a 5G camera, great, you've done it with 4G. One of the things that we need to bring in is the ability to be able to guarantee that stream. 4G is a consumer-based network, and 5G has the opportunity for us to put some of the use some of the functionality to make a broadcast grade network. So that could be through non-public networks, so a standalone network, if you like. We call it a 5G in a box. That can be deployed at stadiums or events. And then through to full network slicing, where you could have a geographic network across the country, where you could book bandwidth, or you can have your packets prioritized, or you can have a network slice for either your company or industry, which will allow you to have unplanned outside broadcasts and breaking news, you know, to try and get an OB truck into something that's happened in a center of London, and to be able to get it there and park it and all of those things is very difficult, expensive. It's you know, there is an impact on the carbon footprint, and also an impact on the work-life balance. You know, you have to send a full truck team. Certainly in how we look at broadcasts, we're sending trucks up and down. You know, we have to send lots of people. We've done a lot of remote production, and we see 5G and the creative opportunities is in there. And also we look at TV and movie making. You know, people have to be able to get rushes back. So if you're on location filming, normally overnight, you'll send the rush back, editor will do a rough cut, send it back in the morning. Again, there's a carbon impact from the courier driving up and down the country. And then you may have to shoot some scenes and get the sets up. It would be great if we could start to do that workflow in a more real-time environment, where the editor can be have access to that media through the power of 5G and its large bandwidth, low latency, to be able to revolutionize that and really have a quick turnover before the set's down. Also, one thing that people haven't thought about is actually everybody on a shoot needs access to the internet. And sometimes that can be a real challenge if you're in a location that doesn't have fixed internet. So you can use 5G routers to provide a hotspot that gives high-speed internet requirements. We're also working in other areas, and there are some really good initiatives to drive forward the creative industries in the UK. One of them is a DCMS funded initiative, UK 5G, which is looking at all 5G opportunities. I'm part of the Creative Industries Working Group, which is looking at the economic and social opportunities we can drive in the UK. And that's really good, and we're looking at representing the sporting industry. As I mentioned, I just come off of a live panel as part of the IBC Accelerator program. As you can see there, 10 broadcasters coming together to look at how we can accelerate and understand the value and the ways of being able to basically have untethered cameras in locations so that we can streamline the workflow, increase creativity, and do some of the things that we cannot do. You know, there is a middle ground. We have our high value productions, you know, for us, say Champions League, it's always in the stadium, we have fiber, we will send an OB truck for a while, and maybe long term we may not. And then you have breaking news, but there's a middle ground where you want a high value production, but you know, you're maybe not necessarily able to get fiber in. And so we brought these champions together, and actually on Thursday, if you go to the IBC website, we're going to be doing a very advanced live production from Amsterdam with lots of feeds from London, and we have a MTV star on a boat in the Rye, sort of celebrating the fact that we're not there. You know, if anyone is in the broadcasters, IBC is a huge thing, a huge meeting thing. So we tried to bring a bit of that live. So what I wanted to look at now, it's the final, I'm going to play out VT. We did the world's first live production of a sporting event over EE's network, as I mentioned, the Wembley Experience. So we used EE's network, 5G network, and then we had remote production. So we said no OBs. We just had the 5G cameras going back to the production studios where we had all of our production done remotely, and that really showed that firstly we just want to see if it could work. No one had done this before. We thought it could, but we needed to do a trial. Actually, what we found the most interested in, what really sort of unintended consequences of proof of concepts, was our production team realized that they had a lot more scope for creativity, having a totally untethered camera, which they can send wherever they want, opens up so many new opportunities. So we were looking at 5G originally for some of the tier 2, tier 3 sports where you can't get fiber in. Which is great. You can take 5G cameras and you can have a guaranteed experience, as I said, and you can make a 4-camera production look like an 8-camera production. You can send a cameraman and a presenter out to the opposition's team bus and watch it come in. But because of these opportunities that we had for creativity, we're now looking at, even when you have fiber, to look at how we can have untethered 5G cameras that break out at the stadium, at the stadium cell site, and then are fed back in either to the OP or via fiber with the other camera feeds, so you have sync back to remote production. So I'll go through this. This is the story of the week, and it's not a week long, so you don't have to worry. And you don't get away from my voice because I am in it for a bit. But yeah, here we go.
It's a busy week here at Wembley. It is the EE Wembley Cup here on Sunday, and that'll be the first live sporting event to be produced remotely using 5G technology. And ahead of that milestone, today between Wembley here and the XL Exhibition Centre over in East London, we've been demonstrating live broadcasts using remote production with 5G technology.
We're here at the EE Wembley Cup. This is the TV compound, which is normally an area that is rammed full of OB trucks and a whole fleet of sporting vehicles. And it's not today. This is a world's first. We're remote producing a game over 5G connectivity, which has never been done before. In that some of the cameras here are all connected back to our Stratford base using a 5G system and being produced by a director who's in our gallery at Stratford.
Our network now, the network is over 60% of video, which means actually we have a video distribution network. Here you've got 30,000 predominantly kids between the sort of 6 and 16, all sending updates on social media. Quite a lot of personal broadcasts, so there'll be lots of people using YouTube Live and Facebook Live, Periscope, etc. So what 5G allows us to do is there's a technology called network slicing, which means that we can create a broadcast-grade network.
The Wembley Cup's really exciting, the world's first live 5G event covered by BT Sport going out on Spencer FC YouTube channel. The important thing for this is about how we take our audiences to the heart of sport. It's about how we use innovation to be able to do things differently, to be able to do more, to be able to do things faster. 5G is really, really exciting for a broadcaster. It will up the creative opportunity. At the same time, it will drive the efficiencies, which will enable us to do more and better. BT Sport offers a wide variety of different events across Speedway, National League, Women's Super League, all the way up to the Premier League, and I would imagine that in 5 years we'll be talking about transforming a huge number of those events' coverage into being 5G contributed, which means we'd have hopefully goals from every single match in those significant leagues. Every single race from the Speedway could be all coming back in real time. Those are then going out either into highlight shows or probably faster onto social and making really interesting programming and lots more of it, bringing fans so much more action than they are enjoying right now.
So that's it from me. I just wanted to say, when we did that, obviously, little did we know we were going to enter the phase that we've entered now, and actually we had to move a lot quicker on how we did remote production. In fact, we had to move it to distributed production because we couldn't go into the studios. And actually, we probably made 5 years progress in 5 months. And so, instead of having, as you saw there, remotely produced with everybody in a gallery, which is just a static OB, we actually had a sound mixer in one part of London. We had a vision mixer in Manchester, and then we had talent in their own rooms. We had commentators, even co-commentators in different locations. So I think it's proved the need. And actually, it was very lucky that we had experience in that, because we could get back online very quickly. So yeah, over to any questions.
Well, there's just one observation, really. I think we're all a bit stunned because it looks very futuristic. And my first question was going to be when, but our previous speaker, Hjalte Jansen from Telenor, he says, Matt mentions some 5G technologies might take years to come. It is the critical communications on edge technology and use cases like MCAS that will take more time. The examples that Matt shows here around sport can come much earlier and likely already next year in some locations because of enhanced mobile broadband. So yeah, interesting. And also, as you've just said, how much the COVID crisis accelerated your progress.
Yeah, just to go to that, I think what I was alluding to that might take some time was a full service wrap commercial opportunity for a broadcaster to go to a mobile operator and say, I want to be able to have this much bandwidth in this location for this amount of time, this much latency, press a button, it's automated, yes, it's there, okay, here, I'll pay for it. But we are already using 4G for remote productions in certain areas, but we bond that. So yes, we will be using 5G before the end of this year. We'll be doing more trials, but actually we will start to use it as soon as the rollout gives us capability. We also have the added benefit as being part of the group is, before we end up with, that full quality of service or network slicing, we understand exactly what spikes there are or not, and we'll know the percentage of reliability we'll have in terms of congestion and things like that. So yes, very much near time, but some features and functionalities to get it to the true sort of satellite replacement or and things like that. Some of the things I talked to will be a while off, but we align some of these things with other verticals. So one of the things that I've been trying to do internally is explain that what we may want as a broadcaster actually translates into a number of other things. So we want a high quality uplink, which is guaranteed ultra reliability. But actually you look at some of the things that we're looking in as part of BT Enterprise around healthcare, something like an ambulance sending back live video, that requires a lot more stringent quality of experience because you're dealing with people's lives. So you can align a lot of these things, which will enable us to bring things forward. If your operators aren't just doing something for a subset of the industry, you can sort of align these and it will bring some of those technology features forward.
Okay, so we have a comment here from Paul, who from our previous conversation, Matt, you will know is a man after my own heart, because he's asking if 5G will make soccer as exciting as rugby, basically. And of course, the answer is no, but...
No, it won't. And I have three...
You're a rugby fan.
Yeah, one of them plays rugby. I played rugby when I was younger and football, and two play football. So yes, and as you will have seen, rugby's back, and we will be using these technologies across our portfolio of rights and productions. It won't just be football. Just happened that the Wembley Cup is part of EE's, and as it was a proof of concept, we didn't want to use it on the Champions League or any of the high value rugby. But
okay,
no,
so we've got to move.
They're both interesting and exciting.
We've got to move on now, but I just think the 5G in a box will just open up so many more venues now that previously traditional TV cameras couldn't get anywhere near. And that's not just for sport, but for all sorts of events. So I think that's a really exciting aspect too.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thanks everyone for listening, and thanks for having me on.